I remember the way she said it, real soft, almost like she was out of breath. "I'm just worn out, babe. Today was a mess. Just another Thursday night. Nothing out of the ordinary." The kids were already down for the night. Summer air sat heavy in our bedroom. Fan buzzing in the corner, barely making a dent. I reached for her like I always did. Not because I was desperate, just habit. But she rolled over, away from me. Those six little words hung in the air like smoke. I let it go. I had gotten used to hearing no, dressed up as "I'm tired." But something about that moment, it was off. It wasn't what she said. It was what she didn't say after that. She didn't just fall asleep that night. It was like she vanished into the dark. My name's Marcus, 38 years old. Husband. Father. Or at least I thought I was. 2 weeks before that night, I got let go from the company I helped build from the ground up. Not for slacking off. Not for screwing up. The board just decided it was time for a shake-up, and my so-called partner, Nathan Ford, made sure I was the first one out the door. Nathan and I poured 10 years into that business. Late nights, bad coffee, chasing every crazy idea we could think of. He handled the public side. I kept the gears turning. We were a good team until he pushed me off the ship we built together. I came home quiet that day, told my wife, Claire, straight out what happened. She looked shocked, held me a little tighter, told me Nathan was a manipulative snake and that I was better off without him. Maybe she meant it in the moment. But 2 weeks later, on that same Thursday night, I heard her give me another "I'm tired," and something inside me said, "Look deeper." Her phone sat face down on the nightstand. Nothing strange about that. What caught my ear was the quiet buzz every few minutes. Not a ding, a vibration. She never muted her notifications. Hated it, actually. She fell asleep, and that buzz kept on coming. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I picked up the phone. Passcode screen. 4 digits. I tried her birthday. It unlocked. At the top of her messages, there was one pinned conversation. No name, just a flame emoji. I opened it. My heart sank. The texts weren't cryptic. They weren't hiding anything. They were bold. "Last night was insane. Your scent's still on me. Hope you're tired." Line worked again. "Next time, let's try the pool." Claire had just responded a few minutes before. "Can't wait." He's sulking again. Guilt gets me further than honesty ever did. I sat there, scrolling. Message after message, like a slow-motion car crash. Every word peeled away the life I thought I had. Then I saw the photo. Nothing graphic. Just a rooftop table. 2 drinks. Her hand being held across the table by someone with tan skin, and a watch I recognized. Silver Tag Heuer. Monaco edition. Limited run. I bought that watch. For Nathan. That was it. That was the click. The lock turning. The pieces sliding into place. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was doing it with the man who stole my company. And she was using my pain, my firing, as a reason to justify it. "Things got so crazy," she had said. Yeah, crazy enough to crawl into bed with the man who gutted my career. I didn't say a word to her that night. I laid in that bed next to her, knowing what I knew, staring at the ceiling while she breathed easy. I wasn't going to confront her. Not then. That would give her room to flip the script. Cry. Apologize. Say all the things I didn't need to hear. No, I was going to play it smart. Like a man quietly loading a rifle in the dark. Next morning, she kissed my cheek like it was any other day. Same little travel mug in her hand. The one I gave her for our anniversary, with "Forever Starts Here" engraved on it. That mug hit different now. More like a joke. "I might be late tonight," she said, stepping into her heels by the door. Campaign meetings running long. I smiled, took a sip of my coffee. "No worries. Take your time." Inside, I was already 5 steps ahead. She had no idea I knew, which meant I still had time. Time to gather everything. Time to make her and Nathan pay without ever raising my voice. That afternoon, I hit up an electronics store. Picked up a couple small cameras, a few voice recorders, and a prepaid phone. Got home and got to work. First up, her car. Dropped a recorder under the passenger seat. Attached a GPS tracker onto the back bumper. Next, her work bag. She always left it in the hall. I slid a voice-activated recorder into the side pocket while she was taking a phone call. That night, when she got home worn out, I told her I ran a bath. She blinked like she was trying to figure out if I was being sweet or suspicious. Then she smiled. She soaked while I synced her phone to the burner. Pulled everything: texts, call logs, photos, cloud storage. I took it all. The second phone, the one from the rooftop photo, was still out there, but I figured she kept it close. Next day, while she was out, I tore through her closet like a man on a mission. Found it, stuffed inside an old box of scarves. Locked, of course, but not for long. Later that night, while she slept, I took her thumb and unlocked it. There all was. Everything. Every text with Nathan. Photos. Hotel reservations. Voice memos. Even her private calendar, marked with little hearts. Some of those dates lined up with interviews I was at, or when I had the kids solo. One voice recording cut through everything. Nathan. Still can't believe he doesn't know. It's been what, a year? Claire, laughing. More than that. Honestly, I started hating him after you fired him. Nathan. You fired him. Claire, I know. But he earned it. Always acting like he had the moral high ground. Maybe now he'll finally learn what losing feels like. She fired me. Not the board. Not Nathan. My own wife. And I had the proof. Turns out, it wasn't the board. It wasn't investor pressure. It was Claire. She's the one who whispered in Nathan's ear, got the gears turning, gave him what he needed to push me out. It wasn't just a betrayal. It was a damn ambush. That night, I stood over her while she slept, watching her chest rise and fall like nothing in the world had changed. I wasn't mad. Not in the way that makes a man throw punches or slam doors. No, it was colder than that. Quiet. Sharp. I didn't want a shouting match. I didn't want her crying into her hands or throwing out some apology she didn't mean. I wanted to tear down everything they built, slowly, cleanly, and make them think it all fell apart by accident. If Claire wanted revenge for how she thought I made her feel, I'd show her how it's really done. So I started working the phones. I called in some old connections, people who owed me one, a couple of former co-workers, an accountant I trusted, and a buddy from college who does high-end digital work now, the kind that makes problems disappear or appear depending on what you need. I told them I needed logs, call records, financial patterns. I needed dirt. I needed ammo. Then, 2 days later, something strange happened. Claire got a flower delivery at the house. Not just any bouquet. This was the same florist we used at our wedding. I watched her open it. She smiled. Not the fake kind either. The kind you save for moments you don't think anyone's watching. The card said, "Counting down the days until we don't have to hide anymore." No signature. No name. But she held it like it was something holy. That night, while she got ready for bed, I checked the bedroom cam footage. She slid that little card under her pillow like a secret. Let her dream about him. She thought she was untouchable. She had no clue her dream was about to turn into a slow-motion nightmare. Because revenge doesn't start with rage. It starts with patience. You let them think you're still nursing your wounds while you sharpen the blade. By the time Monday rolled around, I had the full picture. Claire and Nathan had been sneaking around for 16 months. Hotel stays, gift exchanges, sketchy Venmo payments labeled client lunch. She even had a fake Gmail account, something like claire.whitmore.consulting. All her hotel bookings went through that inbox. They were careful. I'll give them that. But not careful enough. The thing that stuck with me wasn't just the cheating, it was how well they worked together to hide it. Like they were running a damn black ops mission. But in the end, the one thing they didn't protect? Trust. And trust burns quick. So I struck the match. Step 1, Nathan. I made a burner email. Something clean. Sounded like an admin account from one of our vendors. I attached a single blurry image. Claire walking into a hotel, timestamped for a night Nathan was supposed to be out of town. Subject line. Thought you should know. No name. No threats. Just enough to set the seed. The next morning, Claire got in her car and screamed. I know because I heard it through the recorder under the seat. Her voice came over the speaker, hot and full of fire. What the hell, Nate? Are you actually accusing me? After everything I've done for you? I want to know, he said. Were you in Chicago last Friday? Are you serious right now? I was with you, you paranoid idiot. Call cut out right after that. No resolution. Just silence that stretches. That's the kind of silence that breaks people. I smiled. Step 2. Drive the wedge deeper. I made a fake social profile. Picture of a 30-something woman. Attractive, polished, the type Nathan likes to flirt with but pretends he doesn't. Used AI to build the whole thing, face bio, even a LinkedIn trail. Then I sent him a message. Last week was amazing. Wish we'd had more time. Let me know when you're back in town. XO. He didn't respond. But 2 hours later, he deleted a comment Claire had left on his last post. A heart emoji. That was it. The armor was starting to crack. Claire walked in that evening with that look she gets when she's about to snap, but doesn't want to give it away. I poured her a glass of wine. She took it, rubbed her temples, and said, "You have no idea how brutal today was." I didn't flinch, just nodded. Tough one, huh? She looked at me, almost like she wanted to confess something. Do you ever feel like people aren't who you thought they were? I stared at her. Yeah, lately I feel that more than ever. That was the last word we shared that night. The next morning, I got a call from Ethan, our old lead developer at the company. Said he heard about what went down. Said things felt wrong over there now. People were jumpy, nervous. I saw my shot. I told him I had something in the works. Just an idea, nothing formal yet. No name, just a spark. He was in before I finished my pitch. If I was going to burn Nathan's world down, I wasn't just going to walk away. I was going to build something better from the rubble. Back at home, the surveillance kept rolling. Claire had stopped messaging Nathan on her main phone. Now she only used the burner. Always late at night. Always in the bathroom with the shower running. Nice trick, but she left the burner in her makeup drawer. One night, while she was out cold, I cloned it. Inside were dozens of drafts. Things she typed out but never sent. One said, "Sometimes I wish we'd just be honest. Marcus deserves better than this. Too late for second thoughts." Another one said, "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't forced the board vote?" I didn't think he'd take it this hard. That one stuck. She didn't just cheat. She helped destroy everything I'd built. By Friday, it was coming apart. Claire stayed late at the office, but this time, she really was there, arguing with Nathan behind a locked door. The mic in her bag caught it all. "Nathan, maybe instead of chasing ghosts, you should focus on why this campaign's crashing." "Claire, don't act like this is about work. I saw you delete my comment. You think I'm stupid?" "Nathan, you should have seen how you looked at Marcus last week. They were unraveling, and I hadn't even started the real damage yet." She slammed the office door on her way out at exactly 8:43 that night. Stormed out like she had fire under her feet. She walked through her front door just after 9 o'clock. Didn't look at me. Didn't say a word. Fine by me. I did not say a damn thing either. Why would I? Everything was going exactly the way I planned. You know, when a building finally gives in and collapses, it doesn't all happen at once. First, you get that low groan with shifting steel creaking, then the cracks spread across the walls. You do not notice how far it's gone until the floor is falling out beneath you. By the time you realize what is happening, it is already too late. That was Nathan. He just hadn't noticed yet. And Claire, she was still dancing around on the roof like nothing was wrong. Perfect. The following Monday, Claire got up early. Earlier than normal. Hair curled, makeup flawless, dressed like a commercial. She even wore that perfume she only saves for big meetings or something special. But spreadsheets do not require stilettos. I knew exactly what was going on. And this time, I was going to catch them in the act. Now, I wasn't stupid enough to follow her in my own truck. That would have been asking for trouble. So I borrowed a buddy's Tesla. Told him I was thinking of trading up. Silent motor, tinted glass, perfect tailing vehicle. She didn't go to work. Instead, she turned into the parking deck at the Intercontinental Hotel over on Maple and 12th. Like she had done it 100 times before. She pulled in, slow and casual. Confident. I gave her 5 minutes. Maybe 10. Then I parked it. Slipped out. Calm. No rush. I crouched near the elevator bay and tucked a small GPS tracker under the bumper of Nathan's Lexus. He was already there, parked right next to the stairwell. Right where she would have pulled in beside him. So, they were meeting before work now. That much was clear. Later that day, I scrubbed through the new footage, synced the audio files, reviewed GPS logs. I had what I needed. Then my phone buzzed. It was Michelle. Not a girlfriend, not an ex. Just the head of human resources, Sharp as a tack. Never missed a thing, She called it like it was. I just got asked to take a look at our conduct policy, she said. Guess who made the request? Nathan, I said. Bingo. Either he's trying to cover his ass or he's panicking. Probably both. Can you stall? I asked. Better. I'll draft a new handbook with extra emphasis on office relationships. He'll think the walls are closing in. First time in weeks, I laughed. Michelle, you're something else. Good, she said. So are you. That night, I cooked dinner. A real one. Steak, garlic mashed potatoes, the sriracha she loved to pretend was a treat. I had it all plated when she came in. She stopped just inside the kitchen, blinked like she walked into the wrong house. Everything okay? Great, I said, pouring wine into her glass. You've been working so hard. Figured we deserved a quiet night in. She blinked again. Swallowed. That guilt, it was showing in her eyes. Right there on her face like smudged makeup. Over dinner, I asked her the usual stuff. Work been nuts. Campaign still giving you headaches. She mumbled something about deadlines and overloaded teams. Said it with mashed potatoes in her mouth and guilt in her eyes. People lie with their words, but they tell the truth with their body. That night, when she finally went to bed, I waited until her breathing got deep. I slipped into the closet, pulled out the burner phone she thought was safely hidden behind her old boots. I opened it. At exactly 8:01 the next morning, I scheduled a message to go out to Nathan. Last night changed everything. We need to talk. Marcus is starting to ask questions. Then I deleted the message from the sent folder. Gone. Like it never existed. Why 8:01? Because Claire always showed up at the office at 8:15. I wanted her to walk into the storm. Sure enough, at 8:03, Nathan called her twice. She ignored the first, confused by the second. Then her phone buzzed again, my little message. I watched her reaction from the hallway cam. She stood there just inside the door, coat half off, reading that message with a frozen look on her face. Her fingers gripped the phone like a weapon. She didn't even blink, just stared like she had seen a ghost. She replied fast, "What are you talking about? I didn't send that." Too late. Nathan never responded, and I knew why. That same morning, I sent an anonymous email to the investor committee. No threats, just facts. 2 senior staff members at Whitmore Ford Media are engaging in a personal relationship that may be violating company conduct. Attached, GPS logs, recorded audio clips, and photos of both vehicles in the same garage. Financial irregularities possible. I included just enough evidence, not enough to go straight to scandal, just enough to make them go looking for more. By Wednesday, Nathan got called into a closed-door meeting with the board. Claire got a polite message asking her to step away from client accounts until internal review is complete. She came home that night, poured herself 2 big glasses of wine, then sat down without saying anything. Something's going on, she finally said. Oh yeah, I asked. HR pulled me from 2 campaigns. Nathan's been distant, edgy. Something's off. I shrugged. Maybe he's busy with someone else now. She let out a short, nervous laugh. Come on, be serious. But I saw it then. Not fear, not confusion, realization. Something was slipping out of her hands, and she could feel it. But she didn't know who was pulling the strings, and that was the beauty of it. She betrayed me. Now I was erasing her. Not with rage, with precision. See, betrayal is something you can bounce back from. But what I was building, this was something else entirely. Something you carry in your bones for the rest of your life. The morning I opened the results started off like any other. Pancakes on the griddle. Kids sitting at the counter like always. I even smiled when my daughter, Maddie, gave me a kiss before heading off to school. Logan, my boy, handed me his science project and asked if I could help that night. Claire barely looked up from her phone. Her thumbs were working overtime, probably texting Nathan while pretending to scroll through emails. Let her keep pretending. Let her sit there thinking she was still in control while the whole thing was already burning underneath her. Because what mattered that day was sitting in a sealed envelope on my desk. At first, I had no plans to test the kids. I had always told myself it didn't matter. They were mine where it counted. Love, not blood. But after months of watching Claire sneak around, watching her kiss that phone like it meant more than her family, I started to question everything. She had made love a lie, a tool she used to keep people under her thumb. I walked into my office, sat down, and ripped the envelope open. 2 lines, both of them brutal. Both of them saying the same thing. Not the father. Not for Maddie. Not for Logan. I didn't say a word for a full hour. I didn't break down. I didn't shout. I just sat there, remembering every bedtime story, every broken arm I held, every scraped knee I cleaned, every "I love you, Dad" that I now had to wonder, were those even real? And Claire? She knew. She had to die. She pushed for the vasectomy after Logan. So we were done growing the family. So it would bring us closer. She held my hand in the waiting room, smiling the whole time. But the truth? She knew she could not hide another pregnancy. She knew what she had done, and she knew I'd trust her without question. She used that trust like a scalpel. And Nathan? Was he their father? Or was it someone else? Maybe there was more than one. It didn't matter anymore. All that mattered was this. I was a placeholder, a stand-in, a paycheck dressed up like a husband, a man she needed to fill the space until her real life showed up. Later that night, I looked at myself in the mirror. For the first time, I didn't recognize the man staring back. I wasn't sad, I wasn't broken. I was gone. Whatever was left, that was something new, something colder, something sharper. I waited 2 days. Gave her time to keep walking around the house like nothing was wrong. Nathan was under review at work. Claire was pulled from projects, kept in the dark. She was trying to piece things together, but she was still 3 steps behind. She shut her laptop every time I walked by. Nervous fingers. Tense shoulders. She knew something was coming. She just did not know when or from where. That Saturday, I told her we should go out. Just the 2 of us. Dinner at her favorite spot. She said yes. Her smile was polite, but her eyes, they were watching me like a hawk. At the restaurant, I kept it simple. Small talk. Casual compliments. Let her believe I was caving. She ordered her usual. I nodded along like I was falling for it all over again. Then dessert came, and I slid a manila envelope across the table. Didn't say a word. She blinked, smiled confused. "What's this?" "Just some answers," I said. She opened it. Read the first result, then the second. Her face went pale. Her lips moved, but the words were weak. Marcus, I can explain." I leaned in, quiet, calm, dead still. "Don't." She swallowed, nodded, waiting, like a deer hearing the twigs snap in the woods. "I know everything," I said. "I know about Nathan. I know about the burner phone. I know about the hotel on Maple. And I know you had me fired." Her eyes filled with tears. She reached out for my hand. I didn't flinch. "But this," I said, tapping the test results, "this is where it turns into war." Her tears spilled over. She tried to speak, but I cut her off. "They're not mine," I said, my voice like stone. "And you let them call me Dad anyway. Every single day, knowing I wasn't. You didn't just lie. You robbed me of a life." She dropped her hands to her lap. Her face was hollow. Around us, nothing changed. Forks clicked. Glasses clinked. Someone laughed across the room. And we sat in the middle of it, 2 people in the final scene of a story she thought she controlled. "I don't hate them," I said, "but I won't live a lie. They deserve to know why their real father never showed up. And they will." Her eyes finally snapped into focus. Fear replaced guilt. "What are you going to do?" she asked. I leaned back, folded my napkin. Something surgical. I meant every word. That night, I met with my lawyer. Told him to move forward. Not just a divorce, but paternity disestablishment. It is a rare legal move. Not everyone's heard of it. But in certain states, if a man finds out he is not the biological father and that fraud was involved, he can sever all rights and responsibilities. No child support. No visitation. No more legal ties. Claire would lose everything. Access. Stability. My name. My protection. And when the audits started rolling, every penny she used from our accounts to fund her little secret life, that would fall under investigation, too. Fraud. Emotional abuse. Misappropriation of funds. I laid it out for my attorney like blueprints. He leaned back and smiled. This, he said, might be the most ruthless strategy one have ever seen. Good, I told him. Because I'm not here to fight fair. I'm here to finish it. See, Claire lit the match. But Nathan? Nathan poured the gasoline. He thought he could take everything from me, my job, my future, my dignity. Now was my turn. Knowing that Nathan had fathered at least one, maybe both, of the children I had raised as mine, that changed everything. He had not just betrayed me. He had wedged himself into my life like a leech, feeding off everything I built, while I stood there like a fool, smiling and paying the bills. At that point, I did not want revenge anymore. I wanted erasure. So I made the first move quietly. I met with Michelle again. Calm, calculated, deadly with a spreadsheet. We had already stirred the pot at Whitmore Ford Media with an anonymous tip, but now it was time to flip the whole damn table. I need every woman Nathan has ever mentored or supervised, I said. She did not even blink. Just opened her laptop and started typing. Within an hour, we had a list. 12 names. Some were still with the company. Others had left with vague stories about better opportunities or needing space. That was all I needed, a pattern. My attorney, Lorraine, sent them each a letter. Nothing heavy, just an inquiry about their experience with Nathan. Some ignored it. Most didn't. 2 of them sent replies that said everything without spelling it out. There were situations that made me uncomfortable, but I did not pursue anything formally. Working under Mr. Ford became emotionally challenging. That was enough. We arranged interviews with an outside compliance firm, real professionals. No ties to Whitmore Ford. And yes, they were expensive, but money was not the concern anymore. Not when there was blood on the ledger. Then, I went looking into Nathan's personal life. Turns out, he was married. Kept it quiet. Tucked away from the public eye. A wife named Samantha. A 9-year-old son enrolled in a fancy private school. Perfect. I did not need to reach out to her directly. I just sent her a packet, labeled it as legal notice, confidential, and had it delivered to her house. Inside were pictures of Nathan and Claire walking into the Intercontinental, screenshots from their burner phone messages, and a simple note. You do not know me, but your husband knows my wife. This is not blackmail. This is just the truth. You deserve to know what I never did. No name, no return address, just a timestamp. Friday morning, 10:17. By 10:38, Nathan's phone was off. No more pings. No more texts. Nothing. By 3 p.m., he had left the office for a family emergency. By Monday, he was suspended. No paycheck. And Tuesday, Nathan Ford was no longer employed. The press release said he was stepping down to focus on his family. Could have not come home that night. Maybe she was staying at a hotel. Maybe with a friend. Maybe just sitting in a room somewhere, staring at the wreckage of the future she thought she had. I didn't care. I poured myself a whiskey, sat on the back porch, and watched the sun dip behind the trees with the quiet satisfaction of a man who had just dropped the last grenade behind enemy lines. That night, Michelle texted me. He's gone. Off the website. Bio deleted. Press release tomorrow. You won. I stared at that message for a long time. You won. But it did not feel like winning. It felt like walking back to a grave you never meant to dig, realizing you buried the best parts of yourself along with the people who betrayed you. Claire came back the next day. No heads up. No knock. She looked tired. Mascara streaked. Hair pulled back like she had not touched a mirror since the night she vanished. I didn't even look up from my laptop. Can we talk? She asked, standing there like she still had a right to. I said nothing. She took it as a yes. I know what you did, she said. I know you sent everything to Samantha. Still typing. She called me, Claire added. Told me about the photos. She's leaving him. That made me stop. I looked up, straight into her eyes. Good, I said. Now you both have something in common. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I didn't think you'd go this far, she finally whispered. I didn't think you'd ruin everything. I shut the laptop. Stood up. You ruined me, I said. All I did was build something out of what you left behind. That's not destruction, Claire. That's resurrection. Then I walked past her, left her standing there, in the ruins of her own design. The following week was silent. Claire moved in with a friend. The kid stayed with me. She did not fight it. She knew after the DNA results and the fallout at work, the court would not take her side. At night, I would stand by their doors, watch them sleep, and wonder, who do they belong to? Not me. Not really. But the man who fathered them? He did not seem to care. Did not show up. Did not call. Winning? It is never clean. When the fire goes out, you do not feel triumph. You count casualties. Some you aimed for. Some you did not. Some you never wanted to hurt. In my case, 2 of them were upstairs, wearing pajamas with spaceships, asking why Mom had not been home in days. I had mapped out every move. I had visualized the strategy. I planned the downfall of Claire and Nathan down to the hour. But what I had not prepared for, what I had not let myself think about, was what would come after. You burn a marriage, a business partner, a future, and then what? You stand there in the ash, wondering if the man who lit the match is the same one who used to sing lullabies to his kids and cry at kindergarten graduation. I was not so sure anymore. It was Maddie who finally broke the silence. She walked into the kitchen early one morning, hair messy, still rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Dad," she asked, "did you and Mom stop loving each other?" I had just started pouring her cereal. The milk kept going, spilled right over the bowl. I set the carton down, got down on one knee. "No," I told her. "We didn't stop. But sometimes love isn't enough when people hurt each other too much." She looked at me a long time, then nodded, like she already knew. It was the first time in a long while I felt something close to grief die. Not for Claire, for them. That night, Michelle brought over dinner. We sat on the porch, just watching the sky change. She didn't ask questions. She never did, but she saw it. The weariness in my face, the weight behind my words. "You made it through," she said softly. I shook my head. "No, I made it out. That's not the same thing." She looked at me. "And now?" "I don't know." On Wednesday, Claire asked to see the kids. I let her, not because I forgave her, but because they deserved it. They needed to know she hadn't disappeared. She came wearing the same coat she had on the night I proposed. Strange how memory works. The kids ran to her like nothing had changed, told her everything, laughed, held her hands. She looked at me while they talked, her eyes searching, reaching, but I had nothing left to give her. After the kids went to sleep, we sat in the living room. No shouting, no drama. She didn't beg. She did not even apologize. Just asked one question. Was it worth it? I did not answer right away. I looked around the room, at the framed photos still hanging on the walls, at the couch where we once whispered plans for the future, at the old rug where I used to sleep beside the kids when they were sick and wouldn't settle without me close. Then I said, calm as ever, "No, it wasn't worth it, but it had to be done." Her eyes glossed over. I could tell she was about to speak, maybe to justify, maybe to apologize, maybe just to say the same tired line about how things got out of hand. I lifted a hand, stopped her before she started. "Don't," I said. "You had every chance to tell the truth. Years of them. You chose lies. That's the legacy you handed me. I'm not carrying it anymore." She didn't argue, just gave a small nod and walked toward the door. I didn't watch her leave. The next morning, I called Lorraine. "I want to amend the filing," I told her. "What are we adding?" she asked. "Full custody. Visitation when I say. No support payments. I'm not doing this to punish her. I'm doing this to protect them from who she is." She paused. "And if the judge asks why?" "Because I'm not out to ruin a cheating wife. I'm trying to keep 2 kids from growing up under a roof built on lies." Later that week, I took Maddie and Logan to the zoo. Just the 3 of us. No court dates. No legal talk. No tension. We stood near the lion habitat. The kids leaned against the railing, eyes full of wonder. "Daddy," Maddie asked. "Yeah, baby? Are we going to be okay?" I didn't sugarcoat it. Didn't tell her some cliche about everything happening for a reason. I just bent down, wrapped my arms around both of them, and said, "We already are." People like to think revenge is all fire, screaming, smashing, lighting the match. But real revenge? It's quiet. It's the silence that follows. It's leaving the people who broke you to sit in the spaces where your voice used to echo, while you're already gone, building something they'll never be part of again. A month passed. The divorce was finalized. I was granted full custody. Claire didn't contest it. Maybe she finally understood what she destroyed. Nathan? He disappeared off the radar. Samantha took the house, filed for divorce, froze his accounts. Michelle told me he applied for a consulting gig in Chicago under a fake last name. Nathan Fields. HR flagged him before the first interview. I made sure of that. You don't bury a man like Nathan Ford in one hole. You scatter him bit by bit until even he doesn't recognize who he used to be. Claire moved into a modest place across town. 2 bedrooms. No support. No custody. She sees the kids once a week, Saturdays. Supervised. I never demanded supervision, but she understood the deal. Pushed too far, and I pull everything back. Once, she asked if she'd ever have full access to them again. I told her, that depends on whether you ever start telling them the truth. She hasn't asked again, but out of all the wreckage, something solid came through. Michelle. I had always seen her as the one holding the ship steady when the waves came. But over time, it became clear she wasn't just keeping the walls up. She was helping me build new ones. It wasn't romantic right away. It was steady, real, grounded. One night, I walked into my office and found her going over budgets. Glasses sliding down her nose, elbow deep in the math. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's what starting over should look like. Not sparks. Foundation. On the 1-year mark since Claire first told me, I'm just too tired, I took the kids to the beach. We didn't talk about her. We didn't bring up the past. We just lived. Maddie collected shells. Logan tried to bury me in sand. The sun dipped low, casting gold across the water. And I realized I wasn't angry anymore. Not because I forgave her, because I'd outgrown it. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. Not from Claire. Not from Nathan. From the board of the company I co-founded. The one Nathan forced me out of. They had been in free fall for months. Losing staff. Losing clients. Public image circling the drain. They wanted me back. As chief executive officer. Full control. They finally realized something I had always known deep down. The man who builds something from scratch is worth more than the man who hijacks it and crashes it into the ground. I didn't say yes right away. Instead, I sent them one line in an email. I'll consider it if I get to rename it. They agreed. A month later, the company once known as Whitmore Ford Media relaunched under a new name. Ashlight Strategies. Because from ashes, we rise. And this time, no one was taking it from me again.